Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion.
The WNBA is facing a severe financial downturn, watching helplessly as its momentum unravels without Caitlin Clark on the court. Once again, the league has shown it has learned little about protecting the one player who single-handedly brought them out of obscurity and into the national spotlight. This is the story of a league seemingly determined to sabotage itself, while its biggest star, its golden goose, sits injured on the sidelines. And with each passing day of denial and inaction, the league is losing millions.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
In an era dominated by manufactured drama and social media controversy, facts have become as rare as a sold-out WNBA game without Caitlin Clark. When Clark was sidelined with a quad injury on May 24th, the harsh reality of the league's dependence on a single player was laid bare for all to see. Now, with her out again due to a groin injury, return date unknown, we're witnessing a repeat of the same troubling pattern.
Jump to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
Nationally televised WNBA viewership has plummeted by a staggering 55%, with games featuring the Indiana Fever experiencing a 53% drop, falling from an average of 1.81 million viewers when Caitlin Clark played to just 847,000 in her absence. But here's where the story takes a turn from bad to outright absurd, yet predictably catastrophic for a league that stubbornly refuses to learn from its own mistakes.
Went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th, national TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
While Caitlin Clark was doing what she does best, packing arenas, shattering television ratings, and generating unprecedented revenue, the WNBA was doing what it seems to do best, absolutely nothing to protect its most valuable asset. Somehow, despite Clark being single-handedly responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity, the league's response has been to allow opponents to target her with impunity while offering tone-deaf lectures about basketball plays.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her.
What's particularly fascinating, and by fascinating, we mean deeply infuriating, is that this exact scenario has played out before, yet the WNBA seems utterly incapable of learning from its own history. This isn't the first time the league has seen its ratings and revenue collapse the moment its biggest star goes down with an injury. It's like watching someone touch a hot stove, get burned, and then immediately reach for it again, insisting they had no idea what would happen.
Concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. with the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone.
If you're enjoying this, please consider subscribing. The financial devastation has been swift and merciless. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games have plummeted by 71%, with some dropping from $860 to just $250. The average ticket price during Caitlin Clark's absence has fallen from $1,370 to just $80, a staggering decline that speaks volumes about who truly drives interest in this league. Road games that had been moved to larger arenas specifically to accommodate the demand generated by Clark are now left struggling to fill seats. Next voice. Demand for Caitlin Clark tickets once drove sellouts in arenas nationwide, but now, those same venues are struggling to fill seats in her absence. The highly anticipated rematch between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever, once a marquee event, saw ticket prices crash from $210 to just $95. This is the same matchup that previously attracted 2.25 million viewers, making it one of the most watched games in WNBA history. But without Clark on the court, it becomes just another game, one that casual fans simply aren't interested in watching.
Man, bruh. Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
Christine Brennan, the veteran sports journalist and author of the upcoming book on her game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, has emerged as one of the most vocal critics of the WNBA's mishandling of its biggest star. The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment, Brennan wrote after yet another game in which Clark was blatantly targeted by opponents. People are watching as never before, and this is what they see. Brennan's criticism goes straight to the heart of the issue. The league has data showing that Clark alone drives more than half of its television audience. And yet, they continue to let her absorb cheap shots and hard fouls, actions that seem less like basketball and more like attempts to intimidate the player keeping the league afloat. It's the equivalent of a restaurant owner standing by while customers harass the chef whose cooking is the only reason anyone comes through the door.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour, or whatever the circuit is that they play on, than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
The pattern has become as predictable as it is maddening. Caitlin Clark gets fouled hard by opponents who often seem more interested in sending a message than playing basketball. Of the league's 30 flagrant fouls handed out in 2024, 5 have been committed against Clark, 4 of them by the Chicago Sky, accounting for 80% of the total she's received. When Clark responds to the physical play, she's criticized for being too aggressive. When she doesn't, she's labeled soft. It's a no-win situation, one the league has allowed to develop and still refuses to address. Meanwhile, the financial fallout is spreading beyond just the Indiana Fever. The entire WNBA ecosystem is suffering. The league was already projected to lose $50 million this year, even amid the surge in popularity driven by Clark. With her sidelined, those losses are accelerating, TV ratings are collapsing, merchandise sales are slowing, and attendance figures are sinking back to pre-Clark levels.